So, how do you secure your first film or TV job? Let's dive in. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Kalthoon and I work in the film and TV industry here in London, UK. And so I can give you all my experience on how to break in and secure your first job. I studied computer science at university and I then, during my final years, I went to like networking events around London to try and find like filmmakers working on sets. I went to Shooting People here in London and a few other ones talking about what they worked on. And now I was either in post production or it was kind of done and they're looking for their next project. And so for me, I came with a quick realization going, oh, okay, where now the answer changed from, oh, I'm looking for filmmakers to like going, I'm actually looking for hiring filmmakers. And I went on little Google, set runner jobs, like production runner jobs, anything runner attached to London, those ones. And I signed up to all the newsletters that I could find. The one that I signed up to was Film London Equal Access Network, and a few other newsletters, Mandy, anything that you can name of, I was signed up to that. And then I sent my CVs to those jobs at the time. And that's when I got my first job on Chernobyl. On Chernobyl, I actually met a really amazing producer on a different project. So it was like um, a place where not only we were doing our stuff, other suites were doing working on other production. I gave her my details, expecting zero expectation of her getting back, and she did. I believe like a month later. But still in contact today. Will always work with her anytime she'll ask. Um, yeah, she's an amazing supporter. What lovely, lovely woman. Talk about networking. I went to a course and we all were like understanding like the different ways of navigating within the industry and the path of becoming a producer director, whatever it was. And in that time, there was a gentleman standing in front talking about his career path being a BBC filmmaker. And funny enough, 2 years later, we ended up collaborating. So even if someone doesn't respond to you ASAP, it does not matter. I'll just say follow up in a year's time or 2 years' time. That's what I basically did. I followed up straight after the event. Thankfully, I was still working on other projects, but I did have like a downtime, and I basically reached out to the filmmaker, and he basically was like, "Oh my days, yeah, I remember. I'm basically right now shooting a film. Are you able to come down tomorrow? See you there." And so I got off, went down to helped him out as a runner, I believe. Yes, as a runner on his shoot. And then we basically collaborated. Like basically it was just me and him, like going around London and shooting like other like promos and campaigns. And I was just basically his like assistant. And yeah, and it was amazing because I worked as a camera assistant one time. I would help with the boom, and I was doing various different things. So I was just saying, never overlook if even if you spoke to that person that time, like that contact could potentially, fruition to an amazing friendship later on. So I would say never neglect and go, oh, that person didn't respond to me. Always follow up, especially if you love their work. Like for me, the people that I reach out to, it's or companies that I reach out to, it's people that I connect with. And what I see online, I'm like, yeah, I love like what they do and I just want to learn from them. So I'd say just follow up. So these are some of the shows that I've been extremely fortunate to be able to work on along the years, and some of them I'm unable to say because they're not out as of yet. I've also been able to work on campaigns, a few commercials, short films also, and my own kind of stuff as well. Which hopefully in this channel I will dive into my own personal project as a writer director. How film and TV work. I will basically say development is like one path. Then you've got pre-production slash production on the other. And then I'll say there's post-production. Development is when you're creatively coming up with the ideas, you're looking for funding, you're pitching. Pre-production and production kind of put it into one. I'll say pre-production is basically you're prepping for the shoot, and like hiring like the heads of departments and like basically going towards shooting. Production is where kind of all the juice is out. You see all these different kind of like movements and action and sequence, and you're like, oh my days, this is so me. This is what I want to do. You want to work on set, you want to work with a lot of people. So I'll say that's production. And then you've got post-production. Post-production is basically editors, suite with audio, sound design. You've got the composers, and you've got all the, colorists and all of that, and that's post-production house. And that's when you decide which part do I want to work in. And that's when then you're able to realize, oh, okay, now that I know these three different categories, where do I break in? So the first role for you, the most basic entry role, is being a runner, and there's also a trainee gig. So I'll touch on the runner, and that's the most important. I'll say, if you have no idea what you want to do, it is the best route to go down to work on various different departments, learn and soak up as much information whilst on set. If you kind of have a more kind of like I don't know, you went to film school and you've got that clear understanding, you worked on various different departments, and you're like, I can definitely, my whole heart say that for me. So you can then go, do you know what? Like, I really love the camera department, the art department, wherever department it is, and going down that route, you'll basically focus on like a trainee gig, and you would then, so the trainee gig will be a camera trainee or art department trainee, I think. Art something trainee or art trainee, maybe. But I definitely know there's a prop trainee. So that, like, there's more specific niches within it. It's kind of like knowing what it is. Um, and then you've got costume training, you've got makeup training, you've got various different departments. How to find those trainee gigs, it's quite niche, and so some of them come with a scheme. Unless you meet a creative and you go, can I please get a trainee gig on this? It's quite hard to find that, especially because they have to pay you to do those gigs, and so if they don't have that budget, it's quite hard to find that role. So it's a lot easier to get the runner job instead. Signed up and still unsuccessful. So if I had any advice to anyone about starting in, I'll say, do not overlook working on short films or any kind of videographer kind of type of shoots. Just the most important thing I'll say is to have on your CV is getting that runner gig. I'll say definitely do not look over short films. The only reason is I know from so many case studies here in London, that people who've been brought onto bigger shows because they met a director or the producer or someone from the heads of department on a smaller team, that they liked them working on that short, that they then brought them on to those bigger sets as a trainee. And as I mentioned earlier, getting a trainee job is a bit like difficult. Like, you need to know a person, and how you know a person is working with them. Another one is go to studios. Like, here in the UK, there's so many new studios popping up. And that's great. You can get a studio runner job, and you basically wouldn't be on productions, but you get to actually know like the various different teams on the other productions. So I know that when I worked on the studio for another project, the studio runner there was interacting people from my TV series, but then also they were interacting from, I believe it was like Britain's Got Talent that was shooting that day as well. So they were interacting people, and that had those heads of departments as well. And I think there was another show going on, but I can't. It's like some other reality competition type of thing that was also shooting as well. And I'm sure that there was other films going on within like the various different like weeks later on as well, or whoever. So the amount of contacts that you can get during that time would be massive. So that could be a great way of breaking in. Another thing is, I'll say, is contacting people for social media, like finding or sign up to Facebook groups, and that's like production running Facebook groups. Just write that and write your city name, because they will just post all sorts of jobs on there that they need within that week, sometimes the next day. I'll say reach out to heads of departments that you're interested in working with. So if you're a camera person or want to be within the camera team, and your future ambitions to be a DOP, I'd say contact the head of DOP, also the people like below, I'd say the first AC, ask family, friends around you, um, or like people or your teachers, or if you're at university, maybe your career advisors, they may have people that they know who could potentially help you get that opportunity. Because they could go, oh, I've got this friend who I know, who works in the film industry, and they could go, I can try to put you into contact with that person, and then bam, you're working on the film set. The other thing is you could knock on production houses, or you could go to or like find or come across a location shoot. Those are quite like I'll maybe just drive around London. Like seriously, if you're desperate and you're about this life, I don't see a reason why that shouldn't be like the case of, oh, that's not really for me. But the only reason I say that is I was headed down my own path, basically, to another gig that I had, and I came across another film set, and I was like, I need to knock. I don't know, because this always happens to me. There's always someone else shooting in the similar vicinity of whenever we've got our projects. And by the way, they're location shoots, so they could be there for that day, 2 days, three, and they're gone. Could be a week or a few weeks, who knows? But you just know if you found it, you're like you have to like sometimes get it. But that day I had time, so I was like I'm getting off and I'm like knocking in. So obviously I went straight to unit base, and I spoke to the second AD, handed my information, and you wouldn't believe. I found I came across and I was like, I know this girl. But the thing is, when you work as a freelancer, you come across so many people. And the worst thing is you going with each other, do I know you? And then they ended up being someone that you saw on TV, and that's a bit like, oh no, or they would go, oh, I don't think so, and they look similar to someone, and that's really embarrassing. So sometimes I hope when I like aim for people to like go, you, and then I'm like, that's not my preferred methodology, just because it's a bit embarrassing. And we had like a good catch up, which was super lovely. And that's the one thing I was like, oh my days, maybe I should do this more often. I just want to say you've got this, and I'm cheering behind. And hopefully, you and I could bump each other on set, and talk about the nerves that you had earlier, and then go, I don't know why I thought it was so hard. Now I've got the tools and now I can work in the industry. So if you want to see more videos, please click here. Do click like if you love the content, you found this super helpful. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you around.